This would have been worn by a guardsman, because we can see the badge here. You didn't want to be on the receiving end of one of these babies.
One Frenchman did make it inside. They were called sapeurs. They would have carried an axe. They were bearded chaps with huge busbies. Come out of the squares, man their pieces again, and actually fire after them. And this happens about 10 times.
Now on this map we can see the actual dispositions of the troops before the battle started, and it actually kicks off over here on Wellington's right flank at the farm of Hougoumont. Well, I'm going to take you down there. I'm going to show you this place because it's still there. But that starts at 11:30. The idea was actually, Napoleon's idea was simplicity itself. The idea was basically he was going to attack here towards Hougoumont, hoping that Wellington would siphon off troops from his centre to support his men here at Hougoumont when he would in fact actually do it. If he would have done that, he would have weakened his centre, and then Napoleon would have gone straight up the middle, divided him in two, and hacked his units to bits. Not nice having your units hacked to bits, but anyway, there you have what the dispositions of the troops were at 11:30 in the morning of 1815. Now, it had been an absolutely filthy night the night before the battle started. It rained, thunder and lightning the whole night. The following day, the guys are in a bad way, because remember, you're using a musket, and that needs gunpowder, so the gunpowder had to be dry, so they had to clean the muskets, they had to dry them out. So there were a lot of campfires lit on the morning of the actual battle. But here you can see the positions. Now, Napoleon had roughly 100 cannon more than Wellington. Roughly 247 cannon, 100 more than Wellington himself. But Wellington has got the high ground here, and he's basically keeping his centre quite strong. And he only gives one instruction for the whole day: hold your positions. Don't move, don't advance, don't do anything unless I give the say-so. Just hold your positions and let the French come on. That was the idea. Now we're going to go to the battlefield and have a look there.
I'm standing in front of the farm at Hougoumont, and there's some construction work going on here at the moment. But you can actually clearly see the entrance to the farm here. Now, this would have been the first thing that the attacking French coming from over in that direction would have seen. Now, they attacked here around 11:30 in the morning. Jérôme Bonaparte, so Napoleon's own brother, was leading the advance here towards the farm. Now, what they didn't know was that inside this farm were around 1,500 guardsmen. These are basically elite British troops, and they'd manned the walls here, and it's still possible to actually make out the holes they made in the wall. As you go down the orchard side of the wall here, you can still see evidence of that quite clearly. Now, they knocked out bricks in the main building here so they could push the muskets out and fire down on the attacking French. This place caught fire. It would have been absolute bedlam here. Now, for the attacking French it was no fun either, because not far from here, about 200 yards behind this position, you had a rocket battalion, so actually firing rockets. Now, they've been incredibly unreliable until this point. Now, the British rocket battalion were firing over here, and the rockets were exploding above the heads of the attacking French. One rocket, one canister, would have held hundreds of pieces of metal, metal balls basically, and that would have taken out a lot of men when they exploded. And this was the first time that actually ever been used successfully. But either way, Napoleon attacks here. This is the first objective. The idea is that he wants to take this farm. If he would have taken this farm, then he would have literally rolled up Wellington's left flank and been able to hit him in the centre from two directions. But as it was, these guardsmen who were in here actually held stand, actually kept their position for the whole day. The place was on fire, there were bodies everywhere, but they actually managed to keep their position. Now I'm going to scan a little bit up and down this farm just to give you an idea of the immensity of it. I took a little picture earlier on of the farm, how it looked. Well, it hasn't changed all that much, in fact, over 200 years. And in fact, as if I just turn the camera around here, this is one of the original trees. This tree's been here for 200 years. Behind me you see the wall. It extends a good 300 yards to my left here, and it would have been considerably higher than what you see it today. And the guardsmen were actually firing down at the French from this wall, and they'd actually knocked out stones in the wall as well so they could fire straight at them. And as it happened, they really tried everything to take this farm. Now first they attack the front entrance here, and when that doesn't work they actually go around the back, where I can't really show you that because there's a lot of construction work going on there at the moment. But there are some gates at the back, wooden gates, and Wellington said that it was thanks to getting those gates closed and not allowing the French in that actually saved the battle. One Frenchman did make it inside. It was a little drummer boy who was actually held for the rest of the battle inside the farmhouse here. And it's more like a chateau, it's more like a castle, because there are a lot of buildings inside here as well, including a chapel that was used as a dressing station during the battle. So this held out for the whole day. Consequently, instead of Wellington siphoning off troops to support this position, it was Napoleon who actually had to send extra troops in the hope of taking this position and rolling up Wellington's right flank. So it actually worked in reverse as things turned out. But this is the famous farm of Hougoumont. As you see the wall over here to my left, what is incredibly strange about this is that you can't, the guys here, the soldiers who were in here, would not have been able to see Wellington's position because of the ground is slightly sort of rolling and undulating, so it would have been very difficult to see right over there where Wellington was. So they really were a bit out on a limb over here at the time. So they can't see Wellington, he can't see them, but he would have seen the smoke rising from above the trees. And at one particular juncture, a captain from here, from the Scots Guards, actually sent a messenger to Wellington asking for reinforcements. Please, Your Honour, can we have some reinforcements? And the Duke of Wellington said to the messenger quite coldly, very characteristic of Wellington incidentally, he said, well, tell the captain that all I can send him is my best wishes. And really that's all he could send him at the time because he was quite busy. And this is basically, the battle hinged on what happened here. It all hinged on whether or not they could actually hold this position, and they held it quite successfully. So this is it, the south gate, and they've actually started to build it up to the size that it was in 1815. The gates themselves are not here, of course, that's going to be added later. But this is the height here on the left hand side, what it would have been approximately. Now the French brought around some big heavy guys here to try and break into this place. They were called sapeurs. They would have carried an axe. They were bearded chaps with huge busbies on. They would have carried an axe, and they tried everything to get inside this gate, but as I mentioned when I was standing at the front, the only guy to get inside was an actual drummer boy, so it was a bit of a forlorn hope, really. They didn't manage to get inside. This is a rather excellent statue of Napoleon, and the reason it's here is because just the other side here is the place where Napoleon spent his last night before the Battle of Waterloo. It's a place called Jeanval. Now it was a little farm in the day, and in front of it was an apple orchard, and that's where most of the old guard, his favourite troops, spent the night before the battle. So let's just have a look at that. Excellent. Excellent. So this is it. This is the actual orchard. where the 1st Regiment of the 1st Imperial Guard actually stayed the night before the battle. And the strange thing about it is that you can't see Waterloo from here. It's only a couple of miles down the road. Now I'm standing here in roughly what would have been the centre of Wellington's line. Now it would have been slightly higher than what you see today, but they actually took earth from this position to make the Lion Hill, which people think is a monument to the Battle of Waterloo. It isn't. It's a monument to the Prince of Orange, who fought here at the Battle of Waterloo. Now Wellington would have been riding around here, and there used to be a tree here called the Wellington tree, and apparently so many people took souvenirs from it, chopped a piece off when they went past it, eventually there was nothing left. But this is roughly the centre of the British line. Now I say British line, I think it's fairer to say Allied line in fact, because it really was a bit of a mix of different nationalities here.